Hey everybody, welcome to another live stream. Hold on, let me get some video for you guys. There we go. Hey everybody, welcome to
Oh, I got it on the background.
another live stream. Hold on. Yeah, I did too, and it was kind of freaking me out a little bit because I could hear myself. How's
Oh
it?
man,
So how you doing tonight, Bump? What's going on?
pretty good, pretty good. I just saw the stream come up on, YouTube, and I was ready to put my coins in. God.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a more perfect background than Tekken 2, the last true honest Tekken game, than to accompany tonight's discussion and hopefully some games and matches as well. But you guys have seen my podcast with Bump where we talk about Tekken. He's the Tekken guy around here. He knows probably more than I do. Would not be a stretch. And so we did this podcast. It's been like 2 months now. We sat down and recorded a podcast about our thoughts on season 4, but we just had so many audio issues and glitches with it. I was like, it would just be better to record this again than it would be to try to fix this, especially since season 4 is out now.
Yeah.
So I thought we would do it live since I've been, doing my stream. I've been trying to do regular Monday nights for you guys. So I thought we would hop in and just kind of talk about where we're at with season 4 and what's going on with it. Bump, just tell me, let's talk about season 4. What are you feeling about season 4 now that it's been out about 2 or 3 weeks? Where are you at with it right now?
Oh man, I am in a good spot. I actually like season 4 a lot. Just because they touched on everything that a lot of people complain about, like the damage, the top tiers getting nerfed, a lot of bottom tier people got buffed. Fix some issues with things, and the most important thing is the net code. That was by far the biggest thing that I love the most, which was it's been pretty good. Like I haven't had any like bad hiccups. I mean, sometimes it was stutter, but like everybody's saying that, so it's all around, just not like just you and maybe the other person, but like everybody in the whole community. You might
So
come across a stutter every once in a while, but it's been really good though.
we'll definitely get to the net code. There is one thing I wanted to talk to you about because I know we had talked about it before, and that's the damage in season 4. So the damage was reduced across the board, I would say, but as far as increasing the health bar, it was only like, what was it, 5 or 10 points?
It was 5 points.
So I mean, I don't really see how that's a big increase in health. Do you think that's a big enough increase in health, or do you think that just kind of the nerfs across the board with wall damage are really carrying that weight?
I think the nerfs across the whole board is what making 5 points seem like it's a little bit more, because there have been a couple of times like I'll do a combo playing like rank, and like the guy would have died, but like I see that sliver of health, and like, and there's with the 5 points of damage, 5 points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like it never fails. I'm like, that would have killed him. That person was dead, but they only lived because of that 5 points. But I think they should have moved it up to at least 20 or something. Like I don't think 5 was enough.
No, I don't. And I have kind of mixed opinions about the. I was really thinking it was just going to be a flat health buff, and it was not. And I think that's a problem for some characters because there are some characters they weren't willing to give them other things, and so when if you give everybody 5 health, you've essentially taken 5 points of damage off everybody, and so when you do that, and maybe you nerf them a little bit, but you don't really give them something to make them strong enough to compete, I think that really hurts some characters a lot more than people realize.
Yo, cause I know they done something to Armor King. They buffed something about 5 points, but it's like it didn't matter because the health bars went about 5 points. So it's like I don't even. It's like the move never got a buff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it's the same as it was. It's almost like you're existing in limbo at this point.
Yeah, it didn't change. It's just hey, we buffed the damage on this by 5 points, but we also increased the health by 5 points. So it wasn't a buff on the damage part. So it's like whatever.
It's just the same thing, and I'm screwing around with the image here because I do want to step through the patch notes a little bit later.
Oh man, yeah, I'm still looking. Come on, Hodge, you can win this.
See, that's the one thing I hate about the attract mode. You only get like the one round there, and you don't get to see all of it.
True. We lost. The season 4 has been great. The nerfs that they done to the top theirs wasn't like devastating, but they nerfed them, which I liked a lot. But they're still really strong and playable, so I love that a lot.
That's such a hard thing
Yeah, it
to
is.
do perfectly too. I don't know. I put out my video complaining about it, and I definitely have my complaints about season 4. You guys can go watch that if you actually care what I had to say about it. But I think it's overall good. Other than my biggest complaint is the loss of identity on some characters. I think that's just going to be a thing that's going to keep happening, unfortunately, and that's probably the biggest loss that I think Tekken is really suffering with each of these patches.
True. Yeah, like season 3, they gave Julia like her style step 4 was +2 on hit, and like a lot of people, that was the thing. Like when you like when I was learning Julia, I was like, she doesn't really have a plus on hit low. And then in season 3 they gave it to her, and then in season 4 they just took it away and made it do. So now side step 4 is neutral on block. I mean neutral on hit. So I'm like, what was even the point?
Well, that's kind of we had this discussion a little bit yesterday after our set yesterday. It was kind of like the same thing with the Devil Jin Hell Sweep. It's like, why did you give him this? And then after fan outcry, you immediately took it away. So obviously, did you not think it was a good idea? I mean, if it was a good idea, could you at least explain to the community why you did it? I mean, there was nothing. They didn't come out and say like, hey, we made this change. After further review, we think it was a bad change. Thanks for the feedback. Keep playing our game. It was just nothing. It was like they made the change. Everybody cried about it. They took it out, just like tried to quietly take it away. And it's like you can't really just, oh, by the way, a tracking hell sweep out of existence. Like you have to answer for that at some point.
Yeah, I think if they done something like MK does a really good job. They have a podcast usually when they
A combat cast, yeah.
combat cast, yeah, and they talk about like why they buff and everything. So at least try to give some kind of feedback and just give a reason why. I think if they done the same exact thing, like the reason why we gave a track and hill sweep is because XYZ or whatever. Because I mean Leroy, Leo, and Bob. I know that the three of them have track and hill sweeps,
Hmm.
but it's okay. So why not like the Missionaries not have a track and hill sweep?
And that's a
Or I,
that's a
I don't
good
know why
point
not
too.
too. Yeah,
I think the community, Tekken is a strange community because as a fighting game, it's been around what 20 plus years at this point.
25 plus.
Yeah, I remember getting when I went to the Tekken 5 tournament, the Vanilla 5. They gave me the T-shirt that said 10 years since the story began. Well, it's been like another 10 since then. So and the fan base is so divided because there's like this set of us that's old men like us, and then there's this set of like people who, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe they were Melee players. I don't know. They were watching Evo and they saw Tekken and they're like, wow, that's really cool. I wish I could play that. And so they did, and they really liked it and stuck around. So there's a lot of stuff in the game that us old men, like for example, Julia, she can buffer mad axes. Well, why can't I buffer Lee's forward 1 plus?
1 plus 2.
Yeah, why can't I buffer one of his throws? And I'm trying to think about it. I can't think of the command. I actually think it's forward 1+2. But like, why can't I buffer throws? And lots of characters have tracking hell sweeps and really dumb things that if it was introduced today, maybe we would pick up on it. But because we're old men players, we don't really care. We're just like, oh, he always had that, so he gets to keep it. I don't know if that's right or not, but it feels like that's the way we are.
I think you're right because Leo came with it in Tekken 6. She had her track and hill sweep back in Tekken 6. No one said anything. They were just like, it's fine. Bob, same thing. Here we are in Tekken 7 after Tekken Tag 2, and it's still in there. No one says anything.
Mm-mm.
Leroy comes out, has a track and hill sweep. Everyone complains. He came out in season 3, has a track and hill sweep, and everyone complained about his. It's just like, but no one said anything much about Leo or Bob or anything. So
Maybe this is really a testament to, Main Man. One thing he talks about sometimes is about the battle of complexity in Tekken versus depth. Because, we have, 50 plus characters at this point, and every one of them has a move set that's at least close to 100, if not 100 moves for every character, maybe not even counting throws and those type of things.
yeah,
So, at what point is it depth and what point is it just more needless complexity? And with Tekken being as complex as it is, there are things hidden in there. Like every old player, Tekken's a knowledge check game, right? So every old player has a set of things they know and they don't know. And so the community is like that too. When you spread it out, there's people, maybe they're complaining about tracking Hell Sweep, but they don't know that, just like you're saying, Leo has had one since Tekken 6, or, this character has had one. But because Leroy is at the forefront and therefore introduced to their knowledge, they take the time to get upset with it. And so I don't know how in the world you solve a problem like that with Tekken, because if you start taking moves away, that's when people are really going to start getting upset.
Yep, true. I don't know what you can possibly do. It's like, do you just take away everybody else's tracking Hell Sweep, or what? Like, does it matter? But they had it forever. I don't know. I kind of blame social media, YouTube, and all of that. Maybe just because you see Leroy, he's real strong, and you're just like he can do any and everything. But Leo and Bob they were strong at Tekken 6, but they couldn't do any and everything. So maybe Bob. I take that back. Bob could.
Yeah, Bob could do everything except 15 frame launch.
Yeah, which got fixed this season.
Oh, quote unquote fixed. I don't know if you'd call that a fix. That's more like it's a loss of identity. Again, the thing we're constantly complaining about is the old men Tekken players.
That's true. So I don't know what they can possibly do. I don't just leave it like it is, I guess, and just whatever.
So speaking of changing it up or leaving it what it is, there's been a lot of talk about Tekken 8 lately. Have you seen I frequent maybe GameFAQs and Reddit and a few other Tekken related places. I've seen a lot of talk about Tekken 8 lately. I feel like people think that this is truly the last season for Tekken 7. Do you think it is? Where do you think we're headed?
I think it needs to be, because I remember we talked about it. I'm like, this should be season 3 should be the last one. We're not getting a season 4. If we do, I'll be shocked. And we did. And I was shocked. Because like you said, we're old men playing this game, and usually around about this time, if Tekken 7 was just in the arcade, around about this time, like the hype and died down. There's not that many people playing this for like loyalties, and around about this time next year or something, or around about this time now, since what, been 5 years?
Yeah, it's been 5 years. This game's old at this point.
Yeah, 5 years in, and all of a sudden we're already looking for the next one, and we will already be seeing like screenshots in a magazine or something like, here's Tekken 8. We're like, oh my god, but there's none of that. So I do think it was kind of funny. I remember me in one tournament, like this was like 3 years into Tekken 7, or going on 4 years, I think. And he changed his name to like When's Tekken 8, or he just changed his name to Tekken 8, basically saying when is it? Because at the time, Tekken was really old. Because if you go back and look at all the other Tekkens, the years that they're made, like Tekken 1 to Tekken 2, it's like 2 to 3 years. And then as time went on, it got to be like 3 or 4 years in between each one. So at this point, we will be on Tekken 8 right about now, So
maybe even Tekken 9, because I want to say that Tekken 1 came out in, like maybe 93, 94?
94, I think, yeah.
And I know that like Tekken 1 and 2 is a strange case, because like when Tekken 1 hit PlayStation 1, they were already demoing Tekken 2 in the arcades. Because like a lot of people don't know this, unless you're old man like us, you actually cannot use the sub-bosses in the arcade version of Tekken 1. You can only play as the initial 8 characters. But in the PlayStation version, you can. And the movesets that they have in the PlayStation version, they don't have in the arcade version. Like if you use MAME and you use hacks to play as boss characters in the arcade version of Tekken 1, their movesets are extremely limited. It's just like a skeleton moveset. But if you play the home version in Tekken 1, they've basically got their Tekken 2 moveset. And that's because they were already working on that for Tekken 2. So like the gap between those games was extremely small. But when you get into like I'd say Tekken 3, Tekken 3 to Tekken 4 to 5, and especially 5 to 6, that span of time in there starts getting longer and longer, especially when you start talking about a home console release.
True.
It just gets more and more painful every time.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's talking about Tekken 8, but right about now. I hope we don't get a fifth season. Don't get
Mm-mm.
me wrong. I'm loving season 4 a lot, even though I didn't think we was gonna get it. But I think we just need to stay here, get the last character, stay there for a year, and then move on to Tekken 8.
I think that's where we're headed to because if you look, this is a very limited season, right? Like it's only two characters. The others have been like 3 or 4 characters, and this one's just 2 characters, 2 stages, big balance patch, and the online stuff. So I think that was kind of the sign. I could be wrong. They could just pull a Street Fighter 5 on us and give like 60 plus characters, but
Oh God, is Street Fighter 5 what that many now? I really don't know.
I don't keep up with it that a whole lot, but I know it is a lot. The last time I loaded that game up and checked out the select screen, there were a lot of people on it.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit now.
Of course, with a 2D game, you got a move set of what 10 moves versus
Uh,
50 to 100.
I usually say, yeah, 2D Street Fighter has like 4 to 5 special moves for a character, or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. I mean, if you count target combos, but for the most part, you got your base 3 that's been like legacy. Because no matter what game it is, right, you still has this still has Dragon Punch, still has Fireball, still has Hurricane Kick. And I remember one of the seasons they added the Donkey Kick for him in Street Fighter 5. I can't remember if he had it in the beginning, but he got his Donkey Kick or whatever. So that's what everyone calls this from Third Strike. Like it's just called the Donkey Kick. He just turns to the side, gives a side kick, and you just bounce.
So it's a wall bounce. If he ever gets into Tekken, it'll be a wall bounce.
Yeah, for real. He's gonna be in Tekken 8 season 1. It's gonna be Ryu next time.
I am very interested to see if Akuma comes back because you made him part of the story. So I don't know, like, because the game ends on the cliffhanger with like Kazuya and Akuma fighting. So I don't know if you just sweep that under the rug, or if you just I don't know what they do there.
I think you sweep it on the rug. You just bring it back in Tekken Tag 3. Now, me honestly, I don't think Akuma's part of the story. He's just there, and they just kind of add in, but like they made him part of the story now. I guess I got a hard time accepting it right now.
Yeah, I still am not a big fan of that decision. It's like I told you last night when they had that big announcement.
Hmm.
I was so excited thinking it was going to be like they were going to show some favorite characters being added to Tekken 7 or it was going to be a console release. And it was like, oh, we're putting Akuma in it. And I was like, I got up early for this? Really? I didn't need this.
Yeah, I saw Akuma. I'm like, what is he doing here? I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, and I've never been a fan of guest characters. Like if you followed my channel, I just really do not like guest characters. Unfortunately, they're all the rage. I'm in the minority apparently because they must sell a lot because games keep adding them. Especially Mortal Kombat, you can expect at least 6 or 7 guest characters per game at this point.
Yeah, they pull every movie character out of the world, into theirs, so.
And at least they try to do something fun with it. Like they had you could do Alien versus Predator and MKX, and now you can do RoboCop versus Terminator. At least they're trying to make interesting choices that match up with their other guest characters, so that it's like, I know everybody was like in the 3rd grade at some point being like, hey man, wouldn't it be cool if you could play as Terminator in Mortal Kombat and like he could rip Scorpion's head off? It's like, well, now you can do that, so I guess that's cool.
Now you can. Now you can.
It's like,
So yeah, even though I don't mind guest characters because when the games are made and they put in the guest character, it seems to like push the game really far and high.
mm-hmm.
Because not Sam Show, but Soul Calibur has somebody from Samurai Showdown in their game.
Hawamaru, I think.
Yeah, and he's in there, and it seems like he was well received. Same thing here. Tekken got Street Fighter, so it brings in Street Fighter players to the game. They're like, well, I at least know that one guy, so I can. Excuse me, had burp. I at least can like come in and play that game. So I think guest characters now are just like you said, all the rage, and it bring. Because think about it, if they come out with Tekken 6, right? Okay, we got Tekken 7, we got Akuma. Think about it if they come out with Street Fighter 6 and be like, here's Jin and Kazuya in Street Fighter 6, and I'll be like, well, I can kind of play this character in the game because I know what's going on, so.
Yeah, I guess I look at it differently. Like that is the one argument I will accept is, you bring in different fan bases. I still don't know how many like 40-year-old Walking Dead fans picked up Tekken because Negan is in there, or how many Final Fantasy fans decided to pick up a fighting game because Noctis was this DLC character with no story mode or anything at all.
He's just there.
I could see, a lot of Street Fighter fans saying, hey, if Akuma is in this, or like a King of Fighters fan saying, hey, if Geese is in this,
Mm-hmm.
I can give it a shot. I can see that. But I don't know. In a game like Tekken that's as complicated as it is, I just don't see how many Final Fantasy fans you pick up. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you pick up a bunch of them. But I guess my big complaint with the guest character thing is I don't look at it from the marketing aspect. Tekken is a legacy player's game. So when I look at Tekken, I see characters that don't really add anything, right? Because you've got this core handful of characters that you can almost count on to come back, like your Mishimas and Lee, and you're going to have some type of Kazama character, some type of Chang character. But when I see somebody like Noctis, who Namco undoubtedly paid bukus of money to have put in Tekken 7, I just don't see them bringing him back for Tekken 8. I mean, I never see him online, and obviously that's not a good indicator of how many people paid money to buy him. I don't know if Noctis was profitable or not, but I don't see that many people investing in buying him such that Namco brings Noctis back for Tekken 8 over some other Tekken character that people are going to clamor to see. So if I put all the effort into learning Noctis in Tekken 7, well, here comes Tekken 8, he's gone. I have to learn somebody new, and that's just too much of an endeavor for a game like Tekken to learn a new character, knowing that they will not be in the game in the future. In Mortal Kombat, it doesn't take you as long to learn a new character, so maybe if you want to learn RoboCop, well, you'll probably be okay. The game life cycle is going to be about 4 to 5 years. He's probably not coming back, but hey, it didn't take you that long to learn him.
True.
With Tekken, I just cannot make that kind of investment with a character, knowing that they're not going to add to the lore, they're not going to be a returning moveset. So what? Kunimitsu got Warp Strike from Noctis. That's great. I'm sure she'll always have that now. But if you were a Noctis main or a Negan main, he's not coming back.
True. Even like people like Super Akuma, I know he plays a lot of Akuma, and I kind of ask myself, I'm like, what's gonna happen if Tekken 8 comes out and Akuma's not there? Like, I mean, I know he can pick up somebody else. I'm pretty sure he has other characters, but like all this time and effort to learn those complicated combos, and then it's just like, whoop, Akuma's not in it. It's just like Jesus. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine playing like a Mishima,
Mm-hmm.
trying to learn electrics, and then the next game they're just not in there. You're just like, God, all that time and effort for what? So I get where you're coming from, but guest characters, yeah, Negan, Noctis, they're not coming back. I'm pretty sure Kuma's not coming back. Negan, they're not coming back. So it was just something to get, I guess, other people into the game. I don't know if it worked, like you said, but it might have. Who knows? I think Tifa would have been better instead of Noctis, honestly.
I 100% agree, and I think there was probably some Square Enix meddling involved in that
Yeah.
because Noctis he looks like he would be better in Soul Calibur.
Hmm.
He would have been perfect for that with his weapons. A character that changes weapons on the fly. That would have been interesting for Soul Calibur. But if I had to guess, they probably went back and forth. And at the time, Final Fantasy 15, big of a train wreck as it is, that was the game at the time. And so Square wants to push FF15, and so that's why it's like, well, you take Noctis or you don't get anybody. If if they had been looking at a Final Fantasy guest character at the time that Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, I think it's Tifa. I think it's Tifa 100%.
I think the reason why they didn't is because they were still doing the remake for Final Fantasy VII, and they just know this. They didn't want that character in a fighting game. Like, I'm pretty sure Square Enix was like, you can't get her because we got her. She's gonna be popular on her own. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't gonna give like. Cause you know how popular Final Fantasy VII is, right?
Oh.
They're the only ones with a movie. They got Advent Children.
Mhm.
A movie after the conclusion of Final Fantasy VII. So I think they just didn't want to mess anything up with like promoting Final Fantasy VII. So that's probably why we got Noctis. Like you said, they were just trying to push 15 a lot because it wasn't like the hottest Final Fantasy game. So
I just feel like there are more crazy Final Fantasy VII fans that would have bought Tekken just to play as Tifa
Oh yeah,
versus Final Fantasy. Like, where are the Noctis fanboys? There must be some somewhere, but I haven't seen any.
yeah. It's like you said, they would have put her in, and oh my god, it would have been. There are people out there that go crazy over Final Fantasy VII, and Tifa's like really popular. I'm pretty sure it would have been a lot of people just buying the game just because she's in it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
100%.
They wouldn't even play anybody else. They would play just her because she's in it. That's it.
I don't know. Maybe, and it could have been the fact that Namco was maybe afraid to add a character like that
Probably.
because Tekken 7 doesn't really have a lot of single player content. And I have to think that a person who is buying the game to play as Tifa Lockhart is probably more interested in single player. I'm not saying they can't become a good fighting game player, but they're probably more interested in playing as in single player content. And I don't know how people might have got a lot of distrust in Namco if they bought Tekken 7 and then they had to buy Tifa and then all they could do was grind her out in Treasure Battle. I mean, what's the point? We're not even getting a CGI ending for DLC characters at this point. So I don't know if that was the best. And those kind of weird decisions go into that kind of stuff, I'm sure. So it was probably something in there to that extent.
Yeah, true.
It was part of their decision-making process. But anyway, enough about Tekken 8 and guest characters. I thought we would pull up the patch notes and go look at a few interesting characters and just kind of talk about what's going on. Is there any character you'd like to start with? If there's anybody watching in the chat, if you'd like us to go look at a character, please say so, and we'll go take a look at them. But Bump, who would you like to start with?
Let's start with everybody. How everybody just said this character sucked. This character's bad, terrible. Buffed this character for 3 seasons. Might as well start with Lars because he's got like the biggest changes I think this season than most of other characters. Besides like Anna too, I think.
Yeah, let's go to Lars because that's a good example, I think, of a good season 4 change. There's Devil Jin. That's some stuff I don't agree with. We'll talk about him later.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Devil Jin, but I was like Lars would be more interesting.
Well, I think they're interesting in their own ways. I think there's some good and there's some bad. Like, here's Lars. And you've just been playing as Lars, or practicing with him, so maybe you can speak to this as much as possible. So the first thing I see is during Rage, during dynamic entry, 3+4, I'm assuming that means he can do is it a Rage Drive or Rage Art out of dynamic entry?
It's a Rage Drive dynamic entry now.
So is that new, or did he have that before?
No, it's new, and it is a low Rage Drive, but it's -13 on block.
So punishable, but not launch punishable.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a low. I think you can almost react to it. It's like one of those things. It's like you kind of, if you're expecting it, you can do it. I did play against the Lars online when season 4 dropped, and I blocked it the first time. But the thing is, it makes it really good because he can like it gives that spike animation. You know what I mean when you do your drive. It spikes you on the ground, and he can follow with the shoulder and get even more damage. So he can take you to the wall, do his Rage Drive from dynamic entry. It spikes you on the ground because you wall flat, spikes you on the ground, and then he does his shoulder, and it does like you can get like 104 damage. It just depends on what the counter hit of the launcher was. You know what I mean? So his wall carry like went up, his damage went up just because of that. So it's a really good move, and it's something that's really good, but like at least it's punishable if you block it. So it's really good though.
And I mean, I think he needed that. I don't think he had anything special from his other Rage Art, at least best I remember.
Yeah, that one's from Sonic Entry, and you get like plus frames, but you just can't get nothing crazy off of it. It's there, but no one uses it. You know.
And see, that's good. Like, if you're going to add a new move, it should have utility. I think you shouldn't. And we'll get to Lee later, but I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of his new moves is they really have no utility. So this is an example of a good change. So you've given Lars something he can use. The next thing I see is 111. I assume that's just a poke string. The damage.
Yeah, basically call them like a G Cliff candy combo because it's basically like the same thing. You know, they just swinging the arm up and down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know G Clef Cannon. Yeah,
It's basically a G Cliff cannon, basically.
and they nerfed this. Well, actually, it's like a nerf buff because the first hit is it stayed 7 damage. The second hit is now 10 damage, and the last hit is now 20 damage.
Yeah, so it does more on the last hit now. So they kind of want you to kind of finish it, I guess. And if your opponent like does something, you get more damage at the end. So it's something. I think it's all guaranteed on counter hit, so it does more now. So it's still a significant buff.
Is it? Can you hit confirm it, or is it you gotta commit?
Most people say you can. I haven't like really practiced on it much, but like from some of the guides, they a lot of people saying like you can hit confirm it or something. So I just haven't tested it just yet. Not like Julia's 1-1-1. If it's a counter hit on the second hit, they crouch and then you can like keep on finishing it. So this one I don't know, but from a lot of people and guys and stuff, they're saying that you can. So it's just something I haven't practiced myself.
So that seems like a pretty good trade off for him then. And then as we've got down, we got or no, I'm sorry, that's 3 down. I assume that's some sort of movement transition type move.
Yeah, I think it puts them.
Probably put you in silent entry if I had to guess. I don't know Lars, but I'm.
I think it's silent and dynamic. I want to say silent entry. Like I said, I just started playing them, so I don't know exactly. But yeah, it does put you in a transition. I just cannot remember which one.
Usually, when you have those moves that are like a string and a button, and then they end on a directional input, that's a stance transition. But this has been buffed. It's now -10 frames as opposed to 12, so less punishable. And the frame advantage on hit is +5 to +7, so that's a nice little meaty chunk he got there from
Yeah,
this.
it's crazy to me that he can. It's I look at 10 frames. Something that you can punish in 10 frames is almost practically safe because
Mm-hmm.
no one's really used to jabbing 10 frames. You know, not unless you're a Mishima. Like I can contest to that. Like, oh, you're definitely -112. You know, it doesn't matter to me. But being -10 is really good. Like, you won't take anything like that bad or like I'm trying to think. Like Josie, she has a really good 12 frame punish in the wall splats. So now she can't even get that no more. So
Hmm.
so it's pretty good in situations like that. But I mean, she's still 122 and she's like +9 on hits. So, but you know, that's a whole different story.
Well, I think just by looking at this so far, and these next 2 or 3 or 4 changes here are all silent and dynamic entry. And so I think these are good, not only because they make Lars more viable, but they're giving Lars an identity. And it's just obvious by looking at these that what they want you to do is play him based around dynamic and silent entry. At least that's what it looks like to me, not being a Lars player, because they've given you this transition and they've made it better. So they're saying we want you to use this stance.
Yeah, I guess we don't have to go through all the patch notes, but like basically a rundown is a lot of his moves that were in silent dynamic entry in other seasons, they were like really bad negative. Like they were just negative. You just couldn't get nothing. And now a lot of them are either a lot of them are safe, or some of them even go plus. But for the most part, a lot of them are just safe now. So a lot of things were like just negative, and you can punish them. Now you can commit, like you said, you can commit to them and like do a move out of them, and they're like safe. And some of them are like Mia too. You just like Jesus. It's pretty good.
I see also on silent entry down forward 1, they change the opponent's behavior when the move lands as a counter hit, and that's usually patch note speak for you get a counter hit combo or something off of it.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's silent entry for. Yeah, like I think it's Gen's 44.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, I can't remember which one, but one of them now gives that counter hit now. That counter hit animation where they just stumble back. I think that's it. I can't remember.
Not a nosebleed stun, is it?
No, no, no. You know how Jin, if he hits 4-4 on a counter hit and they do they
Yeah.
start backwards falling. Yeah, they gave that to Lars now. Oh, he got a lot of counter hit properties now. They give him like it's either going. They're like all launchers now, basically. after looking at it, a lot of his counter hits now are like they'll bounce you off the ground or it's a counter hit launcher in some kind of way.
So they're kind of making him into a counter hit character, it looks like.
No, yeah, from his stance. So yeah, if he's doing his thing, moving out anime like and hit you, it's probably gonna learn a counter hit launcher now.
Now, the trade off that I would like for that is that the opponent is rewarded better when they guess correctly. In dynamic entry. So if you see him going for like the dynamic entry low, I'm sure there's like a low sweep out of that or something, low launcher. If you guess that right, it should be death for him.
Yeah, if he goes low, like I think a lot of them are like launch punishable still, so it's pretty good. That's like the trade off. It's like I'm gonna do this really big risky move, but if you block it, I can get blown up. And I think most of his lows are he's either going to stagger or the launch punishable. He doesn't have like these lows that he can do. He's like, oh, he's just -12. He's getting punished pretty hard.
And then
except for one, there was one. He has this one. He would do a low, but like Kazuya and like Josie can launch. I just can't remember which one, but like they made it more safe now. It went from like -13 to 12, so you can't get launched off of it from certain people.
that looks like this silent entry 2 here because the frame advantage is no longer -13, it's -12, and the advantage on hit is now +6 as opposed to +5.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I think the other big change for Lars was he has the best wall carry in the game now.
Him and everybody else.
Yeah. Consider that Julian and Geese got nerfed on their wall carry and stuff. Right now, Lars has the best one because everybody's been, how everybody picks a stage and they try to carry from wall to wall. And Hammerhead is always that threshold, because it's a really long stage from wall to wall.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to think which way you would be. I keep thinking you started catty corner in that one, but like if you're on the, as long as the stage can go, Lars can be in the corner. He can take you all the way to the other side of the wall without using his new rage drive. Really, he can just do it because they gave him a new move from silent entry.
3+4.
3+4, and it screws and it tracks and it's safe.
So they gave him the old Zafina special, then the forward 4 for Zafina.
Yeah, but it's out of the stand, so you can probably interrupt it if you own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you probably down forward one him out of it or something like that if you need to.
Yeah, but he has other things if you try to interrupt him. It's just one of those risk-reward things you have to do. You know what I mean?
I wish they would put the frames for these new moves in the patch notes, like just out beside it, maybe like this is a new 13 frame mid or whatever it is.
Yeah, that'd be really good, but for the most part, so his strength is now his identity this season is I can take you from wall to wall, but I still don't have really good tracking, and you can blow me up if you block one of my lows. So it's like, all right, that's his identity, and I'm fine with it. And he finally got buffed.
Yeah, I think Lars is in a good place now, and we don't have to go through all of these because some of this is just like change damage. But I see a lot of silent entry. I see some damage buffs, and the wall carry thing is obvious. So I think Lars is good because now silent and dynamic entry, they're encouraging you to use that. And see, this is where the Tekken team could really benefit if they did like Soul Calibur and said like, Lars, we always wanted him to be XYZ character. This dynamic and silent entry, we believe, are how you play this character. So thus, we're adding XYZ frames to this character because we think it gives him an identity. We think it makes this a useful tool and makes him unique and fun to use. And if they just did that, that would cut out a lot of other balancing problems. But I think that's what they were trying to do with Lars here, and I think they succeeded for the most part with him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's in a good spot now. I'm glad. He still has his weaknesses, but he got a couple of good strengths in that as well. So he's pretty balanced pretty well.
So now that we've done a good character, let me get my rant out of the way. Let's step over to Lee so I can complain about bad balance changes. And Lee is by no means gimped. Don't let people tell you that, oh, Lee is dead now. He's pretty much the same as he was. But the real bad thing about these changes, in my estimation, is they have no real theme to them, and they don't really tell me that Namco knows what they want you to do with the character. In my opinion, for his execution, he should be the more execution you have, the higher damage you get. In season 2, they added forward 4-1, which was it's a useless move on its own because it ends in a high. You can see it coming a mile away. But what that move is for easier combo filler, so that you don't have to back two and instant wall rising and that type of thing. So they give him all this stuff, but at the same time, they're not really giving him anything to make going for the harder stuff worth it. And the easier to do stuff isn't really worth doing either. So it's like, where am I finding value in this character? So the first thing they've done is during Rage, you can do his Rage Art out of Hitman, which, okay, yay, Rage Arts. Great. I'm happy. I'm happy, I guess. I'll always take more options over less options. But this is pretty much pointless. I don't know of anybody who's doing his Rage Art out of stances. And then, one thing they could do is kind of maybe mess around with the Hitman stance. They kind of gave him a bunch of transitions in Season 3, which I think was something in the right direction. But unfortunately, none of them were very much useful. So maybe they just don't have enough data. I don't know.
Okay, usually when I see Lee going to Hitman, I feel like I don't have to do it. You know what I mean? Does he have a low out of it? Right?
He does have a low. It's very seeable. You can do Hitman stance 4, and
yeah, I think his low is really seeable. Like it takes him forever to get down, and it's like, oh, I just block that on reaction. But as far as when he goes into Hitman, I'm like, I don't think I ever have to do it. Does this Rage Drive? It's a mid, right?
It's not a Rage Drive. It's a Rage Art that he can do. He can't do his Rage Drive out of Hitman.
Oh, my bad.
Yes, exactly. Hey, Mooski, how you doing? I appreciate you dropping by.
My bad. That's right. You said Rage Art. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, if it was a Rage Drive, then yeah, I think that would be good. But the thing about Hitman is not really. It does have a low. You can do Hitman 4 to get that's that big super slow Snake Edge. That's a big knockdown. I think you can combo off of it if you're really good. I never do. Hitman is more about evasion and like space control. It's not really about bulldogging it or launching. So like if I go into Hitman, what I'm trying to do is maybe go under something, or I'm trying to use it almost like a backswing blow. So like if you do a down 3, ideally you would hit them with a counter hit and knock them down on their face. But if you don't, the idea is, assuming they didn't block you low, in which case you die, you're going under the retaliation. And so you might go into Hitman down 3 and then press 2. Like if you get a read, this person likes to swing after I go into Hitman. So you'll hit the down 3, you'll hit 2, and that's almost like a poor man's backswing blow where Lee will turn around and actually launch them. And so you could kind of use that. He's also got Hitman Stance 1+2, which I believe they nerfed. And he's got, Hitman Stance 1 into 3 for some shenanigans. It's really more about space control. And they gave him a lot of transitions last season, but they didn't really give any super useful ones. And it's kind of like they're always doing stuff to Lee, like buffing Silver Cyclone. What was the point? Who's out here winning tournaments with Silver Cyclone? Nobody.
I don't understand the point of buffing a unblockable. The best thing they could have done was made it faster. That's it. That's the only good thing they could have done.
Silver Cyclone is like one of the worst unblockables in the game. It's a meme to even try it. I do it just for fun, but let's see what 1-3-3. And so this is one of the just total head scratchers. 1-3-3 is Acid Rain. So that's one of the hardest just frame moves in the game. It's also one of the best 10 frame punishes in the game if you can do it. And basically they just made it more punishable. Now instead of a 10 frame punish, it's an 11 frame punish. And the frame advantage on hit is now +0. So they actually nerfed one of the hardest to do moves in the game. And this is supposed to be Lee's identity, right? He's supposed to be harder to use, but bigger reward. And
he was +1 on there, wouldn't he, or something?
Something like that on hit, yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's +0. Like, why? Like, what does that do for the game and the character? Thank goodness it's only 1 frame, so you can't complain too much. I just don't see the point in that because, especially with the old netcode, who is going for that online if you're not I'm Your Father or Fighting GM? I know I don't.
Yeah, I don't. You never see your beginner intermediate players going for acid rain
Mm-mm.
ever, because it's so hard.
And this is the same thing with this next move, 3-3 when hit or guarded 4. That's trick kick.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
probably the second hardest just frame in the game, and they buffed it. So this first change here, this 1-3-3, you nerfed acid rain. So that's like maybe we don't want you using this extremely hard to do yet extremely useful punish. And then they buffed the hard move, another hard move. So why do you nerf one extremely hard to do move and then buff the other one? Like what does that tell me? What am I supposed to do? What does that do for Lee's identity? It doesn't make sense. There's so much cognitive dissonance in that decision. It makes no sense at all.
They want you to use the trap board because it looks cool.
I mean, but that's not going to get Lee. Like, if they want more Lees in tournaments, that's not going to do it. But maybe buff Acid Rain, make it stronger, give the combo back on a normal hit or something. Just crazy wacky like that. I don't know. Maybe not normal hit. That's too strong.
It was like they didn't take it forward, wouldn't it? Did he give a combo or something?
Well, you could get a combo off Axis in season 2 and 3, or was it one of the seasons they took it away? Because I'm Your Father had a very comical, famous reaction to it when they took that.
Yeah, I think it was when they went into season 2, right? I think that's when they took it away. I think.
I want to say season 2, yeah, because season 3 was okay to Lee. It didn't really hurt him. It kind of helped him a lot, but season 2, I believe, was when they took the off-axis combo away.
Yeah, that was like really hard to do, wasn't
It was insanely hard to do, and it had to be off-axis. You couldn't just do it normal. You had to be off the side. So you would see Father, actually, he will like step and then try to block and punish with it so he can set that up. We can't do that anymore. It's like, how many people were doing that, do you think?
I don't think that was something they should have took away. I think they should have. It's like one of those things you should leave because it's so hard to do. It's like, what?
Make it give a combo again, but make it a little harder to do. I think I would have accepted that because that's who Lee should be. He should be hard execution for a good reward. Moving on, we've got some Hitman changes. So during Hitman 1-4 and during Hitman 1-4-3. So what this is like a jab into a kick, and they basically changed your frame advantage to +2, which okay, great, we'll take it. So you get to apply pressure after that. That's great. We'll take that. And then the 1-4-3 version, I'm not sure what that, or the 1-4-3, yeah. Okay, so you're just getting more frames. That's good. We'll take more frames. 2 frames is not a lot, but we'll take it. During Hitman 1+2, who's using that, decrease the distance between the character and the opponent when the move hits. I believe that is it's like aggressive 1-2, but it's out of Hitman. And what you want to use that for is spacing. And so the real way you would use that is like if I don't even know what, but a good time to use that is after pressure to go into Hitman and then slap 1+2. And the range on that will deceive a lot of people. Like they think they're safe and you can catch people with that. But apparently this is... you're closer, so what they basically done is made it more punishable, is what it looks like. And since they don't put the frame data, we can't verify that. This next change, this is double signal. This one really kind of grinds my gears. So this is forward 2-1.
Yeah, I was gonna say double signal. That's what you use to punish me a lot, right? Like the 4-2-1.
Yeah, I want to say that's like a 12 or 13 frame punisher. You had to hit with something pretty slow to get punished with double signal. But this is an important move for Lee because it's a big combo ender. But also, if you did this like in the raw, like if I got a read that somebody was going to duck, and so I hit them with this, you could follow it up with a feather landing forward 3+4 for good damage. But because they made the opponent further away, feather landing is a 2-hit mid. Now they can only get hit by the last hit. So you lose damage. And they could tech roll out of it to begin with. So this was just kind of like if you catch somebody who doesn't tech roll back or they don't know the matchup, you get a little extra damage. Nope, they took that away.
So you mean you get hit? I just remember you would hit me with that and I would tech roll it. So it's like
Yeah, that's good. That's what you're supposed to do because you eat a feather landing if you don't. But not anymore.
they increase the distance now.
Yeah. So if you tech roll, you get 0 anyway. But if you don't tech roll, you can get the last hit of a feather landing, or it's much harder, but you can run up and do a blazing kick.
Oh god.
Which I think is the better option. It's what I'm trying to learn to do. It's the better option because it flips over and it does more damage. But again, you've got cognitive dissonance because in Season 2, you gave me forward 4-1, which was supposed to be an easier combo filler for Lee. And now you've taken away distance on double signal, and so I have to use a harder, more complicated move to get follow-up damage. So what am I supposed to be doing? Is Lee supposed to be getting easier? Is he supposed to be getting harder? Do you know what you're trying to do with this character, Namco? I don't think you do.
Oh my god, I didn't know it was that bad.
I mean, here's the thing with Lee. Like, there's a lot of people who every patch they claim he's dead. And then there's a lot of people who claim he's strong. Saying he's hard is overblown. The truth, as always, is somewhere in the middle. Most of his changes are just disappointing. I would almost rather him get some really bad changes to just be like, oh, that's what they're trying to do with this character. But instead, you just get stupid changes that don't make any sense. I don't want to rant too long on this, but like forward 1+2, that's like a 13 or so frame Punisher, aggressive 1-2. That got nerfed. I think that was just part of the overall damage nerf. 24-20 is kind of hard to swallow, but whatever, we'll take it. Down forward 3-2-3. That is a non-natural combo string launcher. If someone...
I don't even know what that is. I'm like, I never see that.
The only time you would use this move is when you catch somebody with a punch parry and their back turned. So you can basically either take guaranteed damage or you can guess that they're going to try to do something else and you can hit them with this for a launch for extremely high damage. So if somebody is dumb enough to not block this, because it's not a natural combo, so if somebody is not smart enough to block this, they're going to eat, I think it's 80 plus damage, because you can do down 3-2-3, 2-2-3, which is that big nasty hit confirmable counter hit he has, and then you can run up and do this down 3-2-3 again. It's super easy and it does a ton of damage, but it isn't a natural combo.
Yeah.
So they just made that less punishable, but that's still not really going to encourage me to use this anymore because it's not a natural combo. Even on counter hit, it's not natural.
Is it really?
Mm-mm. I don't think so. That would be one to lab out, but I'm pretty certain that this is never a natural combo because the damage is just stupid high if you land this.
Who's gonna get hit by that? Ever?
Like I said, the only time you're going to get somebody with it is if they're back turned. So you're going to want to, like if you play against a really punch-happy Fakam or Steve, you punch parry them, and then you do this in hopes that they panic because you're safe if they do it from back turn. So that's really the only time you would use that. And then so down 2, change the damage from 18 to 17. Yeah, okay, whatever. Change the opponent's behavior when move lands as a counter hit. Bump, this is more cognitive dissonance because you can get a launch off this now, but it's extremely hard to do. So it's what Lee should be, but yet you're doing other things to discourage people from learning the harder moves, and yet here you've given him an insanely hard counter hit launcher in this down 2. I think it would be better just to take the damage and run up and like do a feather landing or something than it would be to try that combo unless you're expert level.
I'm trying my best not to laugh when I am.
And you should, because it's bad.
It's so bad. I didn't even know it was that bad.
It's dumb. It makes no sense. I mean, and none of this hurts him. I'm going to play in the exact same way I did, other than the feather landing thing. It's just baffling. And then this up forward 3, that has an extension. You can do up forward 3-4. That's a high, but it does jail, I believe, on block. They can't do anything. They have to block it or duck it. So they increased the lower range of the attack. That's a buff. We'll take it. That's good. I actually do use that. That move is good for up close pressure, but it can be ducked. So it's a good Tekken move in my opinion. While Rising 2-4, that is his new move for Season 4. Wonderful combo. And then While Rising 1-4-3, which is the Hitman stance transition out of it. Everybody was begging to have the launching while standing launcher back from Tag 2. Instead, they give us this 13-frame While Rising Punisher. But as Fighting GM pointed out, there aren't really that many 13-frame lows in the game anymore. I think
It's like -12 for the most.
I think he mentioned I think it's Brian Fury's soccer kick. I believe that's one that can be punished with this move. And then if I had to guess, Josie's soccer kick is probably the same. It can be punished probably with this move. But it's like, okay, great. A new move we'll never use. And then during right sidestep, 3+4 or 3+4 for the Hitman transition, that lost some frames. So thanks for that, Namco. Which I believe that was a mid maybe counter hit launch or something like that, which I never really used that move. Maybe I should. But, yeah, just these changes are all over the place, and this is like some of the worst of Season 4. Like, when I see changes like Lee's, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Or is it like half of the balance team knows what they're doing and the other half doesn't? I would really love for them to explain why they made these changes, because I just don't understand.
It's like they take turns, you know what I mean? They one like every patch they be like, all right, bring in the team that wants to make Lee hard. Then the next patch, like bring in the team that wants to make Lee easy. So that's why it is the way it is. I'm laughing, but I feel like Jesus, I didn't know it was that bad.
I mean, it's not even that he got nerfed. It's just that it feels like a wasted patch because like that's supposed to be the fun of the balance patch is things get shooken up. Whether you get buffed or nerfed, I think that's part of the excitement. But Lee just gets, I don't know what he gets. It's the shaft. It's just not, nothing here gets me more excited to play him. And that's why I've been just like complete Kunimitsu since Season 4 launch is because there's nothing exciting here. If you're a Lars player or if you're a Bob player, we can talk about Bob next.
Oh yeah, sure, let's go there.
There's a lot to be excited about here. Bob, I got to calm down. Tell us about some of these Bob challenges. I'm going to get a drink of water here.
All right, well you have your old man rage and calm down. I'll talk about Bob. Yeah, the good changes about Bob is let's see, is crouch dash 1 it's always been safe, but now what will happen normally, he would do crouch dash 1 and he would just knock you down or whatever. But on counter hit, it would give a combo. So but it was safe. It was a hide and it was safe. But it was a reason to go for it, Just because if you get the counter hit, you can make a combo. And it was pretty good. Now in Season 4, they just gave him back his old Tekken 6 CD1, crouch dash 1. He just, instead of getting a counter hit, now he just does it on normal hit, which I thought was insane. I'm just like, why? I thought it was fine being a counter hit launcher, but now that it's just normal hit, you have every reason to go for it. Like, the only thing you have to worry about now, if your opponent does. But like, Bob has really good mids out of his crouch dash. Like, he can do a mid, or he can do a wall bounce out of it too. So like, you really don't want to duck him.
Bob's mids are extremely scary to me. Like you're not going to duck against Bob. You're just not.
That's what I'm saying. So you have every reason to do CD1 now. You just like, oh, I'm just going for the lunge. You're not going to duck me because I can have scary mids now. I can bounce you off the wall or do a launching mid. Like, you're not going to duck just because you don't want to die like that. So you're just going to block the CD1. You just have to do it off a reaction, not reaction, but like a hard read. You know what I mean? You're like, is he gonna do this or this? And I was just like, wow, his CD1 is so much better now. So,
yeah, and I'm not a fan of the Bob changes because again, it's loss of identity, which we harp about because now he's just like a fat Mishima.
Basically, yeah, he's the lost Mishima again.
Yeah, he's just big boy Mishima. Mooski, you're exactly right. Every character is cheap, especially the ones I don't play as. Those are definitely the cheapest ones. But every character is cheap, and that's really a problem in Tekken because it used to not be so much about 50-50s if you go look at older Tekken. But, Anna is a 50-50 machine now. Bob is 50-50 machine. All of the Mishimas are 50-50 machines. I don't know. I don't like that.
What is that change about? Oh yeah, his down one. His down one was really good in Tekken 6. It was safe. I, I don't think he gave a counter hit launcher in anything. I can't remember Tekken 6, but you would use it for a bound in Tekken 6. Well, in this season, Tekken 4, he can do down one and it's safe now. And it's a mid and it's fast. And I think he hits you on the ground. So he has every reason to always go down one. Like it hits you on the ground. It doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
it's a mid and it's safe.
The more I think about it, fine, give me some 50-50s, but we need less of these Tekken 7 style super moves, right?
Yeah.
Like Zafina, I'll always go back to Zafina. Forward, forward, four, tracks, safe, mid, and same thing here with this Bob that you're talking about. Safe, mid, part of a mix up. It does everything. So if you're going to have a move set with 100 plus moves, each one should have a time to use it. You know,
It should be like that, but it's not. What else did they do? For the and the craziest thing ever. Uh, with Bob, you can always do something that was negative 15, and he would just hit you like with his 14 frame punish, and it was
yeah.
fine because you didn't die. It was like you didn't get launched. Now there was like, you know what? He needs a 15 frame launcher, and I think it's a high hop kit, but it's still safe. So
It just makes the game lame. I mean, it really does because you might be tempted to go for some more punishable stuff against Bob
yeah,
because he didn't have that. But now that he does, it's like, okay, I have to play against Bob just like I would every other character.
yeah. I think the fastest launcher Bob had was like 18 frames. So if you knew that, you can always do something that's negative 15 and it didn't matter. If it hit and launched them, perfect. But if it didn't, you was like, all right, I took his 14 frame punish. I didn't die. Go me. But now he has a hop kick, even though it's safe, it is high, but it's still a 15 frame launcher.
Let's stop our second for a viewer related question. So Mooski says that in his opinion, he believes that 50-50s in Tekken are too easy to get and set up. What do you think about that? Do you think 50-50s in Tekken are too easy to set up?
Oh my god, yes, in Tekken 7, yo. It's really easy to set up a 50-50 now just because of so many moves get so much frame advantage on
Mm,
it. Also with the new flip over animation,
which I hate.
anyone that anyone that doesn't know, if you're laying on the ground, even if your feet first, if you're laying on your back and your feet are is towards your opponent, some characters can hit you with a low and it will flip you over. So now it'd be head towards face down towards your opponent, which is I think that's like the second worst position to be in. The other one is face up head towards your opponent because your get up options are even slower. So if you hit three or four, like one of the get up kicks, they're really slow. They're like 20 frames or something. Like you can just check them with like a mid, and it's always they're going to lose to it if they're hitting buttons. I think you lose to everything. Like even with Julia, if I flip you over, I can do like down one plus two. No matter what button you do, you get hit. So you have to roll out the way, but I can cover that with like 4-4-2 or something. You know what I mean?
And
Like
it turns the act of getting off the ground itself into 50-50, which is just ridiculous in my estimation.
yeah, it's Moosey's right. Tekken 7 it's so many 50-50 situations now. I just don't like older Tekkens. You just didn't get if you did get put in a 50-50 situation, it was like one hit and it was like, okay, I didn't die. I'm good. They got their free damage because I guessed wrong. You didn't get launched. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you can get lunch from just trying to stand up now.
Yeah. So now since 50-50s are easier to attain, it's like if you block wrong, you just get relaunched again. You just like, all right, I guess wrong. I launched again. Combo video time. It's stupid now. I just remember old 50-50s was like a punch or a jab or a knockdown again, and you was okay with that. You just didn't die. You took like 30 damage or something, and it was like, all right, I'm good. I just won't try not to fall for that. Now like I just said, you get hit or get knocked down and stand up. It's another 50-50 situation. Then you get launched. It's so stupid now. Ugh.
Thanks for the heads up, Ernest Cole Fishing in the chat. I adjusted the mic. Hopefully that's a little better. And Bump, he says you're a little bit low.
Oh, I'm a little bit low. My bad. Yeah, I can move my mic closer or something, or maybe you can change my output on Discord or something. I don't know. Uh
I think I just need to come down. He said you're on 5, and it sounds like I'm on 100. So
oh
let me take it down a notch, and obviously if that's still bad, guys,
yeah
let me know in the chat. As far as the 50-50 thing, yeah, I agree with you, Bump. And there's just so many things. I feel like there are some situations where you deserve to get put in a 50-50. Like if
yeah
you've guessed wrong on something that you should have guessed right on, or if you didn't defend something a certain way, then yes, that's the reward, right? You get the 50-50 out of it. But now there's so much stuff where you're just forced to take one, especially on Wake Up with flipovers. I think that's everything else I think flies, but the just kind of being forced to eat a 50-50 on Wake Up, I'm not the biggest fan of, because I feel like that's going to lose you more potential new players.
yep
It's so critical because what will make you more mad than anything is not losing, it's feeling like you didn't get to play the game. And when you have such strong 50-50s on Wake Up, you don't really get to play the game, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So I just feel that's bad for the life of the game. It's not necessarily fun to watch. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe Namco thinks it is. I don't know. I hope for Tekken 8 that the flip over is gone, and I hope we see a reduction in moves that pick up off the ground while we're talking about 50-50s.
yeah. I think that's like one of the biggest things. It's like older Tekkens, you would condition your opponent to set up for the 50-50. It's like I keep hitting you low, 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 low after a certain situation, and then I go for like a mid launch, and it's like you block low. It's because you didn't get put in like a hard 50-50 situation. I conditioned you to start thinking of block low. Now in Tekken 7, you just kind of just do it, you know?
And I
It
think
doesn't matter. You just do it.
it's this shift toward making the game more interesting for the viewer than necessarily the person playing.
Hmm.
Because my wife can understand a Tekken match if she were to sit down and watch one. She knows nothing about fighters, but she can understand the concept of two health bars, two guys fighting, and whether it looks cool or not. She can understand that, but maybe to the Tekken player, it's not as fun because it's like, okay, I did a move that's this many frames, but because of Tekken 7 moves, I can't continue my pressure. I've got to stop, and because this guy's got crazy buttons
Yeah,
and he can just do whatever because it's Tekken 7. Zafina's just going to forward for me. And so to the casual viewer, I guess that's very exciting because, like, oh, did you see that? He was attacking and that person knocked him right out of it. That was so cool. But to me, that's very frustrating as the player. And I find it more interesting to play that almost quiet chess like Tekken with my opponent rather than just like, is he going to press buttons or not after my pressure here?
true. Ugh. It's just yeah, Tekken 7 is riddled with 50-50s right now. It's just I don't think there's nothing you can do for it just because the mechanics of the game. So the only thing to do now is just how can I say, like, we just have to move on to Tekken 8 now, basically.
And I feel like that's going to be a major overhaul to be had, too. Like, they're going to have to really put in some extreme changes to fix that. And I just don't know that they're willing to do that because it's a viewer sport now. It's a spectacle sport.
Yep, pretty much. It pretty much is at this point.
So thanks for that comment, Mooski. That was a good one to get us off topic. But if you're watching and you have questions or want to know our completely meaningless opinions on Tekken, please put it in the chat and we'll be glad to answer it. But in the meantime, back to Bob. Did you have any other comments you wanted to make about Bob or stupid moves? I think you were talking about how he can launch 15 frames
Uh,
now.
no, just those were like the main things. His down one being safe now, CD1 being a launcher instead of a counter hit launcher now. Back to Tekken 6. Same thing with like down one being really good. and his hop kick. Those are like the most important changes right there. Those three things just like made Bob so much better. Something else was made safe too, but like it just doesn't matter because a safe hop kick, 15 frame launcher. like you can just do that against somebody that do a lot of lows. Now that I think about it, you know what I mean? Because it's a hop kick.
So if this is Bob's changes, obviously if you're a Bob player, you're happy about this.
Oh yeah.
But do you think that these changes to Bob are good for the game overall? Would you say?
Uh, yes and no. I don't. I mean, I'm fine with down one being safe. But the biggest thing is like the 15 frame thing. I don't know how I feel about it. Like at first I was like, this is dumb. He lost his identity. Like now he can just launch when he shouldn't be able to or used to. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, I think everybody should have a 15 frame launcher because there's just so many moves in this game that are like things are like negative 15. But if you don't have a 15 frame punisher, you can't do your launcher and your B&B. So I think everybody should have like like a 10 frame punish, some kind of like long range punish from like Paul's Death Fist. Like everybody should be able to punish that in the game. If a Paul player does Death Fist, everyone should have some move to reach Paul to punish him in some kind of way, and like a 15 frame launcher. Because there are a lot of things that be like that you can launch that are negative 15. So I think everybody should have something like that. So I had to think about it, had to sleep on that one.
And see, I take a different approach to that. So I think if everybody can has something to punish everything, the game becomes a little less interesting because
I'm
more
not saying
characters are the same
Yeah, I don't mean everybody get to punish everything. I just think certain things in the game should be punishable.
by
So
everybody. So like,
yeah, yeah, like a prime example is like I said, like Haji's like 442 or the Phoenix Smasher Death Fist. Like you should be able to. Everyone should be able to punish that
what do you
because
think the criterion is on like a move is so good it should always be punishable? Do you think it's about the reward, or you just think it's more about like, okay, this is stupid. Like, why would me getting a blocked punch in the foot push me back this far?
uh I don't know because okay, like I can give an example. It's just like Julia's it's a oh my god, I almost say a snake hedge. Bow and arrow is a really good low, but it's launch punishable. And every Julia player will still use bow and arrow because it's so good. But you know the risk reward for it. And they nerfed the damage on it, but like I still go for it, even though it's launch punishable. So I don't think you should get pushed all the way back if you get blocked in the foot or whatever and pushed where I can't punish you or something. You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking about specifically. You mentioned Heihachi's forward forward two.
Hmm.
Then can everybody punish that, or is that?
Yeah. Well,
I never
uh,
see Heihachi, so I don't know.
I put it to you like this: everyone could not punish it because back in season one and vanilla Tekken 7, he was 442, and some people could, but not everybody could because it would push you really far back. And then in season two, they reduced the pushback on it, so now everybody can punish it. It's more consistent.
We could probably
Because
stand to get a few new animations as well.
yeah,
And
and I
where I'm
think
going with this is like maybe Heihachi attempts a forward forward two, and it gets blocked, and there's some sort of animation for him where he stumbles forward. Maybe it's not launch punishable necessarily, but there's some meaning where you can punish him for that.
yeah, some
Because
kind of degree of like, oh, I can hit him now because he's in his funny animation situation. You know what? Is that what you mean?
yeah, kind of
Yeah,
like there's probably some moves like this in the game already that when they get blocked, they have kind of a special animation that's like, "Hey, punish me for this." I messed up. I
yeah,
think we could stand to have a few more moves like that because a that's very interesting. It gives characters some personality, and it's more of a visual cue that something can be punished. So I'm all for that because I mean, my goodness, we've had the what lay down and grab my back animation for 20 years now. We
you
could
know.
stand to get some new animations in here.
Yeah, that's true because in Tekken 3, that's when they started doing I think that's when they started doing the back animation, like "Oh my back," I think.
Mm-hmm,
But
it
they
was.
they never they never did have one if you KO'd your opponent and they landed on their face, they would still just lay there. And then they finally done something for that, like in Tekken. I want to say Tekken 5 is the earliest I can remember. if you KO'd them, they fell on their face. They would like hold the stomach like ouch, you know.
Yeah, like a
Maybe
crumple stun
yeah,
KO almost.
yeah. I want to say maybe it's Tekken 4, but I remember Tekken 5 the most though. But yeah, like yeah, you were definitely right. Tekken 8 do animations. We need them.
And I mean Tekken is such a, for as deep of a game as it is and as many moves as it has, I feel like the animations are fairly standard across the board. Like everybody reacts to being jabbed the same way, everybody takes a kick the same way, and I assume that is just, a matter of programming ease, right? They can't feasibly have somebody program individual animations for characters with hundreds of moves. But most characters have very signature moves that they use. And it would be really nice if some of those signature moves had unique animations. And I think that might be one way that you could kind of hide some of the character identity issues. Like maybe when Lee hits you with his, I don't even know what's a signature Lee move, maybe like a 4-up-3. When you get hit with that, there's some sort of special animation, or when you block it, there's some sort of special animation. Just something that gives maybe a little bit of individualism to each match. I think that would go a long way into making matches look more interesting, where you're not having to take away player choice and like synchronize characters at the same time.
Yeah, because Fakarum has like those unique animation when you do his charge up attack and they don't wall splat when they get pushed all the way back.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, it looks like the person got hit with like somebody's right. It's like the same animations for like raise drives. They get pushed really far back and then like holding block while sliding. But like everybody else only gets that animation if they have a raise drive that pushes really far away or something like that. But like Falcon just gets to do it if he does a charge up attack. So I mean, the newer characters have better animations than the older characters because older characters are legacy and they are stuck with their 20-year-old animations. So yeah,
I would love to see some of the code for Tekken and just see, some of the code that's been in the game from the 90s.
it hasn't
Uh,
changed. Because like
Moose,
even people's I was gonna say even people's key charges are starting to be different now. Because you remember old key charges, everybody just done the little power squat thing.
yeah, the
Like they would
power up thing.
they would just power up. Now everybody's starting to get unique key charge animations, even though you don't see them, but like people do have them though. So, but yeah, Whiskey said, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mooski says, in some situations, I feel like Tekken is high risk, low reward. And see, I would think just the opposite, that Tekken is trending towards low risk, high
Yeah,
reward. At least would
yeah.
be my thought about 7. Mooski, I don't know where you came into the series. Maybe Bump, but
Whiskey showed up in Tekken 7.
oh, yeah. So, see, exactly. And I think this is, and I'm not downing either of your opinions, but I think this is a very good key illustrator of like the opinions of legacy players versus new players. Because I think most legacy players would say that Tekken 7 is Unga Bunga, like to the max.
It is. You just press buttons.
If you want to see a player that's super salty, you go watch Fighting GM's YouTube channel, and he's an old school Lee player from back in the day, and he actually go into depth and will explain to you why he thinks Tekken 7 is Unga Bunga, and I agree with him.
Yeah, I do too. It's so unga bunga. It's just like so many people just want to hit buttons. Like they just want to hit a button. It don't matter if you're plus or negative. They will hit the button. You just like, why would you even do that? Why?
Because you can
Just
get away with it in Tekken 7.
true. It's so many mids and lows and highs that like go over things or crush things. Even when you're plus or negative, you just like, I can't believe that worked for my opponent. You know what I mean? In older Tekkens, you just didn't have that. It's like, no, I hit you. I'm plus. It's still my turn. And people used to respect you for that. But now it's just like, oh well, I'm plus now. Well, it doesn't matter because for some odd reason you're mid. Like high crushes my jab, so I just get beat out. Even though I was plus on hit, you just done a move that just crush my. Like Josie's a prime example. Her down forward two high crushes.
Why?
Like I don't know. Like it launches crouchers and is high. I have so many times like my opponent does something, they'll be plus on hit, just because I know they're going to do a high move right after that, I just down forward too because it just crushes it. I'm just like, why? Why should it be like? It shouldn't be like that, but it is.
Yeah, Kuni Mitsu's her set stance, her set 3. I love it. I love that move against Fakam Rams and Steve Fox, characters that are very punch heavy. because it makes sense for that move to high crush because she's like skating along the ground. But older Tekkens were they're very rigid in their rules, and they followed a system. Like you had your high, mids, and lows. You might have some crushing moves, but it would be just stupid obvious that it was supposed to be a crush. Now everything just crushes. And there are so many characters online. Like if you're like me and you're bad about pressing get up kicks, you'll get slaughtered online because there's so many flowcharts out there that are designed around people low kicking or spring kicking, and the move just completely goes right over it and then relaunches you for a combo.
It's stupid though. I feel like it's low risk, high reward. It's just you just do it.
Yeah, it's like Nike now. Just do it. Just press the button. Press the button. Who cares?
Tekken, just press the button.
Yeah, Tekken. Just swing. That's what you do.
Yeah. I like that. You need to put that on the shirt. Just Tekken. Just Tekken. Just swing.
Yeah, that's definitely going in the description. Tekken 7. Just swing.
Just swing. It needs to be a picture of your face and you just look so disappointed. You just like I would buy that. $20, $25. Yeah, I would buy that.
I guess I'm gonna have to open a Teespring store and get some merch. Get this Terensu merch out here, guys.
Tekken 7, just swing.
Just swing. That's the new motto of the channel. We're gonna have to use that. So speaking of Unga Bunga, let's go over to Devil Jin, and just if you want to talk about Unga Bunga and Mishimas, and believe it or not, back in my day, Mishimas were always the character that was hard to use. You got reward, but it was considered hard to use because of electrics. I don't even think you do need electrics, but you really don't. I don't think, because the damage and wall carry is just so stupid high. I don't think you need to hit 5 electrics to play Devil Jin at a competitive level.
You can play like Devil Jin. You can use all his safe stuff and his lower risk, high reward stuff, and just win off of fundamentals alone. Like you have to commit to something really hard. Like I think the dumbest thing to me was they gave him his Hell Sweep from Tekken Tag 2. That was the bane of my existence in Tekken Tag 2 playing online because it put you in crouch and Devil Jin was plus and he was standing right there in your face while you was in crouch. And the fastest thing you can do from a crouch is while rising 4, but that comes out in like 10 or 11 frames, but you're -4, so it's like 14. And Devil Jin's in your face with +4. He's just like, so what you gonna do? Hit a button? Because you're about to die if you do. Like, it's so stupid. And like, he could just do some kind of safe mid check, and it didn't matter.
And this is where we're talking about the forced 50-50, because you're essentially in a forced 50-50 after you blocked a move. Is that right? You block it and you're in the 50-50, or does he die if you block it low?
No, if you block it low, he dies.
Okay, well, that's good.
Staggers. But like, if he hits you with it, you're in a forced 50-50. You can't side step because you're in a crouching position. Like you have to stand up, then side step. You can't do it while you're crouched. So you have to stand there. You have to sit there crouched and take the mix up, and just hope he doesn't do it again. Because if he does it again, you're still in the same situation, losing health and slightly getting pushed back to the wall. Oh my god, I don't know why they done that. I don't know why they gave him his old Hell Sweep back. Jesus Christ.
Maybe if enough people complain about it, like tracking Hell Sweep, they'll just quietly do away with it when the mid-season patch hits, hopefully the end of December or so.
Yeah, for real, right?
So they've got, let's see, down forward 3-4, increase the damage from 10-8-16 to 12-10-20. Did he really need that? I was...
So he got buffed on all of it. I don't. Oh my god.
And
I don't know if that's on counter hit with everything hit you. Like I don't know. Maybe it does. I don't know.
But I mean, Devil Jin, he's always been regarded as, if not the best character, at least like top 5, no more than top 6. And I see nothing but buffs for this man. And so that's somewhat baffling to me when Harada gets up there and talks about increasing the skill gap and talks about, bringing lower tier characters and balancing and minimizing, and we're just going to inflate Devil Jin. At the same time he's telling us this, he's sitting there with a bicycle pump hooked up to Devil Jin, just like blowing him up ridiculously strong.
Just gonna keep doing this until you get strong, Devil Boy. Like, okay.
Like how? Like, is he going to be like Leroy eventually? Is he going to be launch Leroy? I mean, I guess Tekken 7 is probably about to end, so this is probably going to be close to where he lands. But
Be real strong.
he's going to be stupid strong. Fortunately, I never seem to run into Devil Jin. I can play, a 2 or 3 hour session in ranked, player match, whatever, and I never seem to run into one. I maybe run into like one a week, if that much.
He's really hard to play still. He's still hard to play. But I mean, you do not have to commit to, like, I need to know how to do my electrics. I'm just like, dude, you can use like your 12 frame punish. You use your can kick or something. Like, you can use forward 2. It doesn't matter. His back 2-1 is like a really good punisher. It reaches really far. 1-1-2, this is 10 frame punisher. Like, you don't have to do anything crazy. Even if you can run up to your opponent and do a broken plate, I think it's down 3. Like, if you block it, he's like negative 11 or 12. So you take no risk. You have to worry about if they're going to parry or not. If they don't, then it doesn't matter. It still does a good chunk of damage to KO somebody when they're almost dead.
Oh, and he has steel pedal too. He's got a flip over move with one of the best flip overs in the game. Just throwing that out there.
You just hate that move, huh?
I do. I really do not like the grounded shenanigans in Tekken 7. I just do not. I don't like pickups. I don't like flip over moves. I think there's too much emphasis placed on getting up. If you want to make Tekken a viewer-friendly game, make it like old Tekkens. You take your one hit on the ground of Oki and you get up, and that's that.
That was your reward for knocking me down. One free hit.
And I'm being facetious, of course. It doesn't have to just be one hit. Obviously, if somebody is going to keep getting up into something, I do think that there's a place for that kind of game in Tekken. But right now, just, the feel game, I feel like that flip overs and pickups are too strong. There's too many of them. It dictates too much of the match. And it's a very high barrier to somebody trying to get into Tekken. They're going to come play the game and be like, oh, Tekken, that's that game where you can't even get off the ground because you just get flipped over. And then if you get up wrong, the guy launches you and you die. So, like, I don't even get to play it. Like, what's the point of playing the game? You're not going to get to play.
True.
So, and, I've been playing Tekken 20 years, and I'm still bad at dealing with it. So what chance does somebody who's just come in off the street, because they saw Noctis was in the game and they wanted to take up fighters, what chance do they have to learn all this?
Not a long time. Maybe they'll be back for Tekken 8.
Somehow I doubt it.
The new move he got was crazy because in Laser Scraper you go back forward 2-1, and then I think you can sidestep like the last move. So you'll start sidestepping after the first one, but now they gave him like this new move, and I think it tracks. It's the first part of like Laser Scraper, so it's back forward 2, but then it's a kick, and I don't think you can sidestep it. Like it covers that option now, so it's just like,
why?
Yeah, it's really good for like keeping you. It's basically to keep you in check, and it's just like, okay, I guess. I mean, whatever.
Okay, guys, for anybody watching this who doesn't know or will watch it and doesn't know, old Tekkens had very specific moves, had very specific purposes. It's not like Tekken 7 where you have one hammer and you just swing it and it breaks everything in every direction. In your toolkit, you had a hammer, you had a screwdriver, you had a nail gun, and each one had different uses. And that's what made the game fun, at least for us old school people, is I'm in this situation. Here are the tools I have available to me. I have to try to decide which one is best for what I think he's about to do. Now you just take your gigantic rubber mallet out and you forward that mallet across the screen, or in Devil Jin's case, whatever this is, you do that. And why would you try anything different? Your other tools are gathering dust because you can just forward your way out of the situation.
You could just do this one thing and cover every option, or like 80% of the situation. It's just like I just do this. I don't have to do anything else.
Why bother? And
Yeah.
that makes Tekken a more boring game to play. I don't know about necessarily boring to watch, but it makes it more boring to play. At least when you get beyond a certain level, if you're just starting out, you're just going to go out there and do Silver Cyclone or whatever. It's not going to matter.
Just hit a button.
Yeah, Tekken 7, just swing. That's all you got to do.
Swing. I love that.
It's the new channel motto, I think, is just swing.
Oh my god, just swing. But yeah, I don't know why Double Jin. I mean, he is like the poster. He's like the evil poster child, where Jin is supposed to be like the good poster child. Double Jin is the evil one. So, regardless how you think about it, I think Double Jin is always gonna be good. Didn't they buff his other thing too? Like how you said earlier in the stream, like how come Julia gets to buffer her mad axes?
You're right. Yeah, he can. He can input. Was it?
Complicated wire. It's complicated wire. It's quarter circle back. 1+3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he can buffer that now. Like, why?
And that's another one of those like cognitive dissonance things. Like, why does he need to do this? Like, he's getting all these other buffs, and it's just like, oh, we gave him the ability to do X, Y, Z just as a quality of life buff. I'm like, really?
And that's a very fast throw. Like it comes out pretty fast. Now you can just buffer it, so you can just mask it, and your opponent won't be ready. Like now you can just at the wall. If you have your opponent at the wall, you can. I'm just making up a scenario, and I know after I do like a hell sweep, they just stand back up, right? Because they don't want to like get hit with something crazy and get a wall splat. So now I can just do the hell sweep. You're left in crouch. I know you're gonna stand back up. While I'm hell sweeping you, I just put in the command for complicated wire. As soon as you stand up, I grab you and just, you get thrown right back to the ground in a bad situation.
Yeah, and that's some of this like unga bunga Oki stuff that Tekken is so bad about. And I bet we've still got the Tekken. Look at this match. Look at this epic match of the century going on back here between Alex and Law. If one of these guys gets knocked on the ground, do you see that? Alex was on the ground of his own volition, got one hit of damage, and stood back up. I mean, that was peak. That was peak old Tekken. So we'll watch this Jack 2 Ganryu match going on back here. Okay, here's Ganryu's on the ground. Let's see what happens. Okay, Jack swung at him one time. Ganryu rolled to the side to get out of it. They're back fighting in neutral, as all things should be. That is perfect. I love that. But instead, if it was Tekken 7, Ganryu he'd be at the wall, and he would be trying to decide. Yeah, he'd be dead probably if he had a Tekken 2 health bar.
He's dead already.
He's already dead.
Yeah. Oh, we should talk about the oh god, yeah, season 4, and we finally got what you wanted. You got Kunimitsu,
and she's a good Tekken character. Like, she's not broken, but she's not dead weak. She has weaknesses, but she's fun to play. She's perfect. So that tells me the team knows how to do it. They're just afraid to do it, I guess.
Yeah, that should have been like Leroy and Falcarum. If they came out like that, it would have been season 3 would have been perfect. Even Safina, she came out like that, perfect.
Yeah.
Like, Kunimitsu is. I feel like she's strong. You don't feel like you wasted your money for buying her, but she still has some weaknesses. But like, you have to just know them, And I feel like I did waste my money if I did buy her just flat out by herself, Well, she's perfect.
And she has a lot going for her. So she has weaknesses, so that gives her an identity. She's fun to look at, and like Harada said, we think she's a little different than the usual Tekken character. We hope you still like her. And I think that's good. She does play different. She has like flips and like kind of a dash knife move and the kunai throw. Those are things that are not traditionally Tekken, but because of her weaknesses, it's okay. It's okay that she kind of bends the rules of the game a little bit. She's not even like Noctis. Noctis had Warp Strike, and he was hated because he also had that nasty down back 2? The unseeable low spear, and he had the Ora that was like super, super stupid good. Like, that's breaking the game in a bad way. But Kunimitsu, her dash, she has her dash. All of her options are fairly normal. She's got a mid, she's got a low out of it. She can throw, the throw can be broken. The low, as long as you're not swinging, it's not going to launch you. You can eat that low. You don't want to get counter hit by the mid. It feels very fair, and she's very fun. And she looks good. And like you said, if Leroy, looking as cool as he does, had played like that, completely different season 3, I think. Completely different outlook on season 3.
True.
That-
I think they done a really good job with her. Hope she comes back in Tekken 8 as like a base character, so we can get stories again.
yeah, I really hope we get CGI cutscenes back because that was always so nice to have that.
True. Like with Kuni being out, so do you like everything about her and everything?
100. She's everything I could have asked for. A good, strong character with a definitive weakness that looks fun and it's fun to play. I mean, that's everything I could have asked for. I was 100% satisfied. She even has her own intro now and like a stage, which is so cool.
She's like the first Tekken character to get that too. By the way, like I can't think of another. Oh,
I mean, Geese is king of fighters, so I don't really give.
yeah, I don't count him. I was gonna say maybe she was, but then I thought about June and like Unknown and Tekken Tag 2. They had like this special cutscene when you would fight. You fight June and then she goes evil. Then you fight Unknown in Tekken Tag 2. That was really cool because the whole stage changed. You know.
True Ogre had one too, right? When you fought Boss True Ogre, and I want to say Heihachi did too.
I remember you fight Ogre. You fight him in his temple. You beat him.
And then Jun shows up, and there's like all the light.
Yeah, and I was gonna say in Tekken Tag 1 or Tekken 3, like Ogre would pick up like Hachi or Jin or something, then he transformed to like True Ogre. Or something.
Yeah, that was Tekken 3.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I guess she would. I guess I need to say Kunimitsu has the best one. Then
Yeah,
I guess since she's not the first now, she definitely has the best one.
and it comes into that awesome stage too, and so you
Oh
get
my
the
god,
the stage is so cool.
they done such a good job with this stage. I never like. Don't get me wrong. The Falcon Realm stage was pretty unique. I liked it. I thought it was really cool because you get a balcony break and a floor break all in the same stage. And I was like, dude, this stage is really legit. When you just look at it, I was like, oh, dude, it's pretty good here. And then they come out with the Kunimitsu stage. I'm just like, I was blown away by it.
I think all of the DLC stages have been really good, actually.
Um,
I can't think of a bad one. Hammerhead's kind of boring, I guess. The music's good, but I mean,
I love the music. Yeah, I love the music on Hammerhead.
it fits Final Fantasy 15. Again, that game is a train wreck, just so nobody forgets. But it's an iconic location from 15, so I can kind of
Yeah,
see that.
I'm trying to. Yeah, Geese has a really good stage.
Yeah, the music in that is really good too. I really like
Yeah,
Geese's stage.
trying to. Yeah, I guess you're right. Except for like Last Day on Earth, the Negan stage is just another Hammerhead stage, just at night. When you think about it.
Yeah, Negan's stage is pretty boring if you're not fighting Negan because he comes out of the trailer.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny that the trailer goes wherever he goes. So if you're like in the volcanic pit, it has him getting out of the RV.
It's so stupid, but it works. It's whatever. It's Tekken. I won't complain about it because I've been fighting bears and raptors and kangaroos and stuff, so it doesn't matter to me as much. But yeah, it's pretty funny when it happens. It's just like, what? Why would you drive this over here?
Speaking of kangaroos, you think Roger Jr. is the final character, possibly the final Tekken 7 character ever?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think it's Roger Jr.?
I don't think it will be. It. I keep thinking it's gonna be like Combat or Tetsu or something like. I mean, Moku Jin. I think that would be like the last one, just like whatever.
Prototype Jack.
Oh my god, get out of here! Why?
I cannot get behind the idea that it's going to be like Mokujin or Tetsujin or Combat because you're paying for random select.
Yeah.
Now he might be like a surprise free character. I could see that. Like, hey, thanks for supporting Tekken 7. Here's Mokujin. Enjoy.
Yeah, just give it away for free.
Because
I can see that.
because I mean they've already got the model. They just got to take the model from Tag 2 and then
Yep.
port the moveset. So I could see him doing that.
I can see that being free. I can see that, yeah, because it would make any sense to buy the season pass. You get Mokujin at the end, so yeah, that would make sense. It's like I paid for random select. Why?
Mokujin should have just been in the game to begin with, and you basically bait and switch me. You told me you were giving me a character and a stage, and you just gave me random select. I just don't see that happening.
Don't get me wrong, I would love to see a Mokujin stage though. I can only imagine what they would look like.
I would hope it would be his ending stage from Tekken 3, where it's like the whole family has like the wooden arcade cabinets in the background.
Dude, that was so good. Yeah, I can see that. I really don't know who the last character is going to be. I just don't know. I mean, you still remember when they showed those screenshots and they had Lee in front of the what is that store from Yakuza or whatever?
Oh, from I don't know what it's called, but the one from the Yakuza series. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So I mean, so obviously they have made this stage already because Lee was there, his model was there, and you saw in the background, you saw the store. So there's another stage already made. We just don't know what's it going to be right now. So I think the stage is made. I don't know if it's going to be Kiryu because after Twitter and everything, the producer, the person that makes Yakuza, doesn't like the idea of him beating up on women. So I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I've said it before. I'll say it again. The idea of Kiryu breaking Ling Xiaoyu's skull is very appealing to me. So I don't know what he's on about, but
Look, man, it's just AOP. It's not going to kill you. You just have to wait your turn. It's going to be okay. Okay, it's just AOP. Just wait.
she's so annoying, man.
Just break the throws and just wait it out.
I'm a lot better at fighting Xiao Yu once I figured out you can just down forward one most of that back turn nonsense.
Yeah,
Just back turn one it and then run away, and she'll make a mistake eventually.
that's true.
What if it was like since they said Kunimitsu is supposed to be kind of different from other Tekken characters, what if they did something strange here? Now, bear with me. What if it was Roger and Alex, and they fought as kind of like a tag team of some kind? And so, like, you picked, you picked whichever outfit, like maybe you picked the Alex outfit, and then for certain moves, maybe Roger comes in and they like clothesline the opponent together, and then he runs off the screen again or something like that.
So something like Armika from Street Fighter 5.
I'm not familiar with Armika. Like, what does she do?
Okay, so Armika has she does her normal things, but she has special move where she calls in her tag team partner because Armika's a wrestler.
Yeah.
And she calls in the Desco, and the Desco does like different things depending on what buttons you press and what you EX. So like the Desco would come in and give she would help with throws. She would help with like Armika's like super her critical art. She would also, depending on what you would do, she would come in, hit the opponent with a chair, or jump off the top rope and land on you with like a body splash. Depending on what the move you wanted to do, and it's really crazy. Or she would just come in from the back and like drop kick you because she was coming in to save Armika. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. So I can get what you're saying. Like just certain moves, they do it, and then like the other character finishes the last input of it.
Yeah, I mean, especially for like the rage art and your throws and things like that. I think that would be a really cool way to, because there are a lot of Alex fans and there are a lot of Roger fans. I think that would be a good way to make both of them happy. Is maybe they fought as kind of like an unofficial tag team of some kind. That would be really fun, I think.
That'd be really cool. I can watch. Oh yeah, and they still do like Tekken Tag 2 special throws or something. I don't know. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, give them like unique back throws or something. Mooski asked a question. He says, "Were learning character matchups in older Tekken harder or easier than in Tekken 7?" And I would say, as long as you're not playing Tag 2, I would say it was a little bit easier. Maybe.
It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier because back then your rosters wasn't like 50 characters. You have like your 20, 30, and everybody had like a really simple move list. People had like 30, 40 moves at most, so it was really easy to learn the matchup of all the characters. This was way easier. Yeah, I think it's harder now because I remember in Tekken Tag 1, I thought that was a really big roster, but like I remember playing I'm not saying I can play all the characters, you know what I mean? But like I knew a combo for like every character in that game back then. Of course I did play it a lot, but at the same time combos were simpler, so it wasn't like you had to go into this in-depth thing,
Yeah, that's a good point. And like this game right here behind us, Tekken 2, and you see it's gleefully advertising that it has 26 selectable characters.
Yeah, that's everybody in the game.
That's everybody, palette swaps included. And like Bump said, that the move sets were smaller, so now most characters, because it's a legacy player's game, like you take a game like Mortal Kombat 1 to Mortal Kombat 3, most characters kept the same moves, And if they got a move, they lost a move. Or maybe they didn't get a new move, it's just an old move does a new thing. But in Tekken, they just keep stacking. So at the time of Tekken 1, Tekken 2, you've got about, I don't know, maybe 20 moves in your move list.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
It wasn't much. And so it's like Bump said, in this game, like in Tekken 2, if you made me pick a random character, I could probably at least play you competently. You know, I wouldn't be guessing too much. I know something with everybody. And there's a lot of clone characters. Like Lee used to be just a straight up Law clone. Yeah. So if I pick Law, if he's all that's unlocked, I can probably do something with him pretty well. And by that same token, I probably know what somebody else is going to do a little easier. And then, of course, you had some characters which were just not viable. Like Kunimitsu was just trash in Tekken 1 and 2. And then Prototype Jack, just trash. Very bad. Wang Jinrei, you would never want to play as Wang Jinrei. He was pretty bad. Just certain characters you wouldn't want to use. It was almost like they were just there to serve the purpose of being a sub-boss, and that was it. So I'm gonna agree with Bomb. I'm gonna say that's a lot easier to learn.
It was so much easier because you just look at the move list. It was like, oh, this character has 35 moves. That was it. You know, it was less than 50. Now you look at a move list, it's like over 80, and you're just like, God, now I have to find out what's good, what's bad, what does what.
So I went to, I pulled up GameFAQs right quick just so we could see, and I pulled up Tekken 2, and I pulled out a Bayek guide. So if you don't know, Bayek was basically Hwoarang's predecessor. He's Hwoarang's teacher. And so naturally those guys have really long move sets. And so I'm looking at Beiku Dosan's move list. I'm going to say there's maybe 30 items on this list, maybe more, but a lot of them are just like variations and extensions because he's all about mix-ups and those type of things.
Yeah, it's basically like the same 3 or 4 hits, and then they just changed the last 2 to 3 hits on the string. Like, that was it. It was like, yep, you can do this move, but here's this move with a mid, high, and a low.
So not counting throws, Kunimitsu has 13, and that's it. Just 13 moves in Tekken 2. Now, of course, it got a little bigger in Tag 1, but...
Jesus Christ, 13.
13, that was it. Now, it's not counting grapples, but still. You look at somebody like Prototype Jack, and they're going to be in the same situation. Prototype Jack in Tekken Tag 1 was like... just hot garbage. Like, Main Man has a video on how bad that character was. Go look it up if you're interested. He was terrible.
He was prototype for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of dumb that they would even do characters like that. That were like Tekken Tag 2 Angel was so bad.
Oh, don't even get me started. The worst Mishima I've ever seen in my life. Jesus. It's like, how do you have somebody that does Mishima stuff and just...
that badly?
Well, she just got all the worst things for Mishima. It was just like, why does she get all the worst things of the Mishima? Why? Jesus Christ. That character was so bad in Tekken Tag 2.
Mooski says, I remember when I was watching a Tekken 4 tournament and all I saw was Jin. Yeah, that's all you're going to see if you watch a tournament for that game.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You're either going to see Jin or you're going to see Nina.
Might see a Lee or two.
You might.
Violet.
Those are going to be the only 3 you're going to see. Jesus Christ.
And see, this is one thing that, you know, we're being grumpy old men with rose-tinted glasses. Tekken 7 is an actually fairly remarkably balanced game. It's just, I guess the way that they've gone about balancing it is bad in our opinion because it's just like make everybody the same rather than make people uniquely viable, if that makes sense.
Pretty much. Which is fine.
It's not... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think you should be playing like a game and then you play the character and they just flat out suck at everything. Kind of like how you said Wayne just was bad.
He's a bad Julia is all he was, or Michelle.
Michelle, yeah. You shouldn't be able to play him and be like, this character just sucks. I just play Michelle. It shouldn't be like that. It should be strong as something.
And that was why they cut out a lot of those clone characters because they weren't really willing to put the effort into them to make them viable, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you go look at let's say pre-tag, no, let's say pre-Tekken 5 Anna. She's just a straight up copy of Nina. I mean, there's nothing different about her.
Oh yeah, they was both they were both. Yeah, it was just. Did you feel like playing a brunette or did you feel like playing a blonde that day? That was basically it.
Well, I'm married to a brunette, so you know my choice on that. But I mean, in Tekken 3, they literally had the same. In the arcade version, you just had to highlight Nina and press start, and you would get Anna. Like, they didn't even bother giving them their own slot until the home version.
Yeah. I just totally forgot that Anna was in Tekken 3. Like every time I think about Tekken 3, I can see the whole entire roster, like on the arcade or something, or the home version. And I just keep forgetting that like, Anna's in there because she doesn't have her own slot. You have to press start to get her, you know?
She actually got one in the home version, but the arcade version,
The
no.
arcade version, she didn't. It was just, that's what I mean. Like, she just in my head, she just doesn't exist, even though she was there in my head. I'm just like, yeah, Anna was in Tekken 2. Then she didn't come back to like Tekken 5 or something, Tekken 5 DR or something. It was like, she was in Tekken 3. Yeah, no, she was a palette swap.
And
Kind
so,
of like, oh, what if I just now thought about it? What if they finally give Miyaru her own character? What if they finally made her own character?
I just don't see that happening.
Oh man, please don't let it be Christy. I want the Christy Sands to still be mad.
That's the same as Mokajin, in my opinion. I'm not going to pay for Eddie Gordo. He's already in the game.
Yeah, that's true too. Never mind. You just keep shooting me down no matter what I say. I get it. I got it. You're like, I'm not paying for Eddie Gordo with female version of Eddie Gordo. No.
I mean, I guess they could, go ahead and give her a brand new moveset, but that Christy is Eddie. I mean, that's how do you separate that character from their moveset?
I don't know what you do. I was gonna say Miyaru, but it's like, what do you do?
I think that would be a good final hurrah update to just, make them costumes even. Just like, okay, you can play as Miharu, and now here's Christy. Just...
Oh, yeah, they could do that because you could do the same thing with
Well, it's like Lee and Violet, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna say, you know how you can use the what is it, the bearded man outfit and change the character and it looks like Harada?
Yeah, exactly.
You can do the same thing with them, just a Miharu outfit for Ling Xiaoyu. Like it just changes her to Miharu.
I think that would be the perfect send-off for, at the end of season 4, and they put Alex in the game, and then they say, okay, here's a bonus free update. You can play as Christy by selecting her from Eddie's costume menu or whatever it is. I think people would love that.
Yeah, just press start or something. Yeah, and that'd be fine. It wouldn't cost you anything. It's just there.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not just sitting over here begging for free stuff. I just think that it's going to be a very hard sell to ask people to pay for an Eddie skin because you're not in the business of selling skins for this game. Not yet. They may start. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, for real. Oh my god, but yeah, season 4 is definitely better. I meant to say earlier when we was talking about the netcode being better. I played somebody from Japan. It was 4 bars, but it was playable. You know what I mean?
It was good. Yeah, that's good.
It was good. It was a guy from Japan. I played him. I won. If you need to know.
I do.
It was a one and done. He left. He was like, I ain't messing with Julia no more. I'm out of here. I'm playing Kazuya. I got a hard character. You got an easy one. I don't know. He just left after that, but I won. But it was still a very playable match. Fatalist Jamar, he played somebody from Africa. Said it was a really good connection.
I played the guy from Africa. I've seen him on Ranked. I played that guy. It was good for me too.
See, and this is what online fighting games should be at right now. To me, this is something that should have been done years ago. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the way how the netcode is for Tekken 7, fighting games should have been like this from the start years ago. Like playing online should have been like this. I want to play other people from around the world with like next to no problems.
And I think it's sad it took a pandemic to do this, but you never can tell what an event's like Butterfly Effect except with less Ashton Kutcher, right? You never know what one thing is going to cause another domino to fall, and that's kind of what COVID did to fighting games. Is it exposed how bad not just our netcode, but I think our infrastructure was.
It exposed a lot actually in fighting games. It was just
I actually participated in one of the Tekken online challenges. And I've got a video recorded, I think, and I just have not posted it yet, kind of with my thoughts on it. And it was a bit of a train wreck, to be honest. Just it feels very ham scram the way that works behind the scenes. And I think COVID has kind of exposed that, like, if we did want to do online tournaments, we have no infrastructure for it. We have no idea how to do this and it not be a mess.
Yeah, because I mean, look what COVID did. Like Tekken 7, been out for 5 years, or at least on consoles for 3, going on 4. And like online lobbies were just like, you didn't care that you had to sit there and wait. But now that most of everything went to online, like we didn't have a skip function, and we finally got one. A while back. It hasn't been around long. It
Mm-mm.
hasn't been a full year. We finally got a skip button. It's just like, why was this just not in the game from the beginning? you know?
Just and stuff like having to go back to the menu to change characters, that's still a problem.
Yeah, it's just so much. It's still so many things they can fix, but I'm still happy for the progress they're making. So
Yeah, it is a good thing. We're coming up on 11, so
yeah. I just looked at the time. I'm like, Jesus Christ,
yeah,
this is how much we love Tekken. We could just sit there and just talk about it all day if I could.
this is a lot of Tekken, and we talked about Tekken pretty late last night as well too.
Yeah, we did.
But what are your final thoughts if you had to predict? Just take a wild guess. Who do you think the next character is for season 4? Do you think it's or you could say an original character if you think it's going to be an original?
I don't even know if we need any more original characters because Tekken 7 is littered with a bunch of original characters. If you take out Legacy and just look at the originals, even if they're DLC originals, you'll be amazed how many we got just in Tekken 7 alone. You'll be like, God, that's a lot. Uh, who do I think the last character is gonna be?
If it has to be a returning character, who do you think shows up?
I don't care who it is, as long as it's not June. Like I don't even care. At this point, I just don't even care who it is. If it's returning, fine, whatever. As long as it's not June Kazama, please. If anything, Harada, Michael Murray, I know you're listening because you listened to some of my complaints at the last time.
That's right, they did.
They did, so I know you're listening. Please, no June. Just save it for Tekken 8. But you can throw anybody else out there. I don't care who it is, just as long as it's not June. I don't care.
And it's not because people don't want to see June. It's because she deserves better, right?
Yeah, she deserves better. Mama Kazama deserves better.
Mama Kazama, she's holding all the cards now.
Can't wait to see that. Please let that happen. But if it's an original character, I don't care who it is. And if it had to be a guest character, I don't know who's left, really. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to just take a guess and assume it's not a guest.
Is it Karnoff?
Oh.
Karnoff's Revenge?
Either that or Jim McCoy from Kaiser Knuckle, I think. Or how about Bart's?
Why not? Sure,
No, it should be the other Kazuya from Kaiser Knuckle.
Yeah, that was Kazuya in his early years, I think.
Yeah, like teenage angst, blue jeans, and Geta Kazuya.
Who do you think is going to be?
I really think Roger Jr. I think it's going to be Roger Jr.
Okay. So how do you feel about season 4 and everything? Kunimitsu, you finally got her.
I just hate it took 4 seasons and literally like 10 years of Tekken 7. I told you guys because Kunimitsu has always gotten the shaft. Like, I don't even want to talk about Tekken 1 Kunimitsu. She didn't even have her own voice actor. That's how lazy they were with her implementation in Tekken 1. Her moveset was trash. Her moveset has always been trash. And, like, if a character is not at least baseline level viable, I don't care how cool they are, they're not going to get fans. But now that she's gotten the Tekken 7 redesign treatment, not only is she viable, she's fun and she looks good and she's not an old woman anymore because we know how scared of old women Namco are. So there's literally no reason for her not to be in future installments. I think she's been very well received. Like the amount of fan art out there for Kuni just since she was released, I think is awesome. And
fan art, yeah, you're right. The fan art, how well she was received, she wasn't hated like Falcon and you know.
And that tells me it's a step in the right direction. So I think she really is everything I wanted to see in a Tekken DLC character. Not even just because of the character she is, but because of how they designed her. And that's what I want more of. So I hope a lot of people put their money where their mouth is and bought her and use her and say, yes, we don't want to pay to win. We want to pay to play Tekken, right? And that's
Yeah.
what you get with Kunimitsu. And hopefully, whoever this next character is, hopefully they'll take a lesson from that. And if it's Roger Jr., great. Roger Jr., I think, would be a good choice because he was never that strong, I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't think he ever was, but he was fun to play. He was just like one of those characters. Like, I probably won't win a major or anything, but you're really fun to play. Just whatever.
And that's what a DLC character should be, right? Like, to use an example not related to Tekken, like the Elder Scrolls series. Like, I don't know if you've ever played like Oblivion or Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
But usually, when they add DLC to those games, the fun of it is the DLC lets you break the rules of the base game. Like, they give you abilities that weren't in the main game, but they don't necessarily destroy it. So it's not an instant win button. Sometimes it is because Bethesda releases broken stuff. But I think that's what Tekken's DLC should be. It should be fun. It should be new and original. Not just like a Leroy pay to win, but like, hey, here's Kunimitsu. She flips and she's a ninja and she has her own stage and all this cool stuff. Hey, here's Roger Jr. He's a kangaroo. You can fight in Tekken with a kangaroo. That's fun. I like that. So I hope that's what it is.
I was gonna say, speaking, how you was talking about like the whole Bethesda thing. I remember in Fallout 3 there was a DLC, like you were saying, like it was something broken but not broken. Like there was this thing you would do in Fallout 3. You would get this really cool armor, and like it was really good, strong, and everything, but like you couldn't repair it because it was just part of the DLC, and there was nowhere in the wasteland to repair it. So it was just like you had to be really careful with it.
Well, that
It's
was
still
like
like
the
some Yeah, it was really hard to break it, but at the same time, it was just one of those things.
that was like the Mothership Zeta DLC for that. You could get
Yeah,
the alien blaster, which would it
yeah,
pretty much one shot anything if you had energy weapons, but
yeah,
there was only so much ammo for it in the game, so you really had to think about how to use it. Unless you're on
yeah,
PC, you just console command some more ammo.
yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, so you're saying, who did you say you think it's going to be?
I just I don't know. Like when I think about all the Tekken characters, I'm like, who's left? I'm just like, there's no one left.
You got to give
I
me
don't.
somebody. You got to give me somebody so we can go back and
Okay,
look at this and then.
so I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying to think somebody that's somebody, but not a clone. And I'm just like, who's? I mean, the only people that are left, like I said, Tattoo G and Moku Jr., but you don't want to pay for that, which makes sense. Christy could be her, but you already got Eddie, so what would be the point? So I guess the only people that would be left is, I don't know, bring back Dr. Boskonovich, I
Oh
guess.
gosh, no.
Make him better and make him like a really valuable character.
How about Dr. Abel? Only Tekken Deep Lore fans know about Dr. Abel. Put him in the
Yeah,
game.
I would say him, but he's dead. But yeah, sure, why not?
Is he dead? When did he die?
He died. Brian Fury. No, Dr. Abel. No, Brian Fury killed Dr. Boskonovich or something. Who did he kill? Brian killed one of them. I feel
Hey,
like he killed Dr. Abel too, though.
I don't think he killed Dr. Boskanovich. I just think he injured him, and so Yoshimitsu, that was why he was in Tekken 5, was because he wanted to get back at him.
I feel like Dr. Abel has been killed though.
Oh,
I feel like he Tekken 6 or something. I feel like he's dead though.
before we sign off, we got to figure this out.
Yeah, true. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
According to Tekkenpedia, or Tekken fandom now, he
Hmm.
is presumably deceased.
Yeah.
Let's
How did he
see.
die? See, I can't remember how he died though. Like I want to say Brian killed him.
Let's see. Brian enters the fourth King of Iron Fist tournament so he can command Abel to modify his body. In the epilogue, he approaches the shocked Abel and knocks him across the room before falling to the ground unconscious. It is unknown whether Abel survives this. And then Tekken 7 says, before his presumed death, Dr. Abel had been creating a satellite death ray which was used by Heihachi to destroy Kazuya Nakuma's G Corporation rooftop. However, both Kazuya and Akuma managed to survive, with Kazuya in a few hours later destroy the death ray with his Devil Blaster. So he's just presumed dead after Brian Fury knocked him across the room.
I don't know. When I remember that cutscene, that's why I said I'm pretty sure Brian killed him. You go back and look at it. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
According to the wiki, he would be 90 at the time of Tekken 4, so he probably is.
I'm like that. He hit him, so it to me it looked like he killed him. But then again, take it for it.
Maybe it's Jane.
Oh my God, Jane. Isn't
Yeah,
that
it's like
she
Jax,
Jax? Yeah,
whatever.
she's
I
the
don't know
little.
what she is, but
She's she's the little girl that he saved, and ever since then, she's the one. She's the reason why Jack keeps getting made into upgrades. Like I think Jack 2 or Gun Jack or somebody saved her, and she's been making Jacks ever since then.
according to Tekken Wiki, she currently still works for G Corp. So
Yeah,
I mean, I guess she could be in there
yeah.
somewhere.
She is the one that keeps making Jack, and every time she remakes him, he like loses his mind and be like, "Oh, I'm a robot. Kill the first thing I see." And right before he kills her, like he remembers who she is and stuff like that, and like all the flashbacks come into play. Like he finally his memory comes back. It updates everything. It's like, "Oh, you're the person that keeps me alive," or "You're my creator," or however you want to put it.
Or maybe it's just a really bad Frankenstein CGI ending, one of those joke endings.
Yeah, it kind of is because that's what it was. He saved her in Tekken 3. I want to say.
Might even been Tekken 2 because
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I know that in the intro to Tekken 2, you see him like all the jacks are like sweeping the area and he finds her. And then in Tekken 3, he protects her from the laser or whatever.
It's like Jack 2, Jack Gun Jack or whatever.
Okay, so are you really going to say Dr. Paskanovich? That's your pick?
I am going to say that just because we need something crazy.
All right. All right. So you're going Dr. Paskanovich against. Oh, goodness. Lord help us. I'm sticking with Roger Jr. I think that Wang Jinrei is too similar to Leroy, and I think that there's really nobody else left. I don't know who you bring back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who do you bring back? Everybody's there.
Unless it's an original character. I say if it's a returning character, it's got to be Roger Jr. I think it's going to be Roger. Or maybe even just Roger. Maybe not Roger Jr. I don't know. They might pull a martial law.
It might be an Alex Jr.
I would gel with that. I always preferred Alex to Roger anyway because the dinosaur is just funnier to me.
Yeah, it was a dinosaur with boxing gloves. That was like, he was a raptor with boxing gloves. Like, how much crazier can you get than that?
And in Tekken 2, he had that wind pose where he would like jump and like thrust his dinosaur crotch at you at the front of the screen.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for? It was perfection.
I mean, they both put you in the oh my God, I can't even think of the tombstone. That was the funniest thing to me.
Well, that was the thing with Roger and Alex. That's kind of why they went the way of the dodo, is because in Tekken Tag and Tekken 2, they were just like a palette swap of King 1, essentially, is what they were.
Yeah, they were.
But Tekken 5, they kind of did their own thing. Mooski says Bump remade himself as Bump 2.0.
Oh, yeah, I can be a DLC character.
What about Prototype Bump? When was that?
That was like before Tekken 1. I was holding all the cards back then.
I thought you were out of the game.
Yeah, they did, but I wasn't. It's going to be revealed in Tekken 10. I was the one that started all of Tekken.
I created this. This was me.
I created this. I'm the one who put the devil in Kazuya. Why? Because I thought it was funny.
to orchestrate events for my own enjoyment.
I thought it was funny.
Okay, guys, we're really running out of time tonight. Bump, man, thanks for stopping by and talking Tekken with me for 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's been fun.
Dude, a little talk about Tekken. It's just one of those, since it's been 25 plus years, it's so much in there. Like, you could just talk about Tekken. One thing about Tekken, we could just talk about the lore at Tekken and stories. And that can be like a whole episode of itself because it's just that much in this game.
Well, we talked about doing a Tekken lore podcast. I think what we may do is because this was fun. I enjoyed this. I think we may do the Tekken lore stream special, and we may just do like a Friday night or something. Just hop on here and see if we can get somebody else in the Discord that knows the lore, and we can all just kind of sit and talk about it. Because I tell you, I know a lot of obscure Tekken lore, and so we could just sit and talk about that.
I just want to be the guy to make fun of everything. That's what I want to do. I'm like, this is so stupid. Watch this ending.
Yeah, you know what else is easy, Bump? Taking candy from a baby. That's
so stupid. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll do a lore stream, and we'll load up the gallery mode in Tekken 7 because that's what they give you instead of content.
Yeah,
and we'll
I'll be down for that.
We'll just go through it all. But anyway, thanks again, Bump. I really do appreciate you talking Tekken with me.
it's always fun. I have a blast every time we talk about it.
I've been watching the view count. Pretty good numbers for tonight. I do appreciate, guys. We had a lot of playbacks, a lot of watch time. Mooski, Ernest Cole Fishing. Thanks so much for you guys for always supporting the channel and stopping by, leaving comments. Let me know what you want to see in the future. Obviously, just a lot of talk tonight. Don't worry. I will be back to my usual gaming Monday night streams next Monday at the usual time. Me and Bump just had to sit down and talk about Season 4. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I look forward to talking to you all soon.